Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming. We're in the morning. Is when we record these anyway. Every day except Shabbat. Intentions, postures, intentions based on sources. We do our homework up to the election. We feel this time is we call it a squeeze time. In the past, when we've been in periods like this, what have we done? We do what we know how to do. We pull out some sources, we get quiet, we pull up our wisdom, we share a little of it. We try to intention ourselves for better days ahead and for truth and honesty. And we're following, let's see here, let me make sure I'm on. We're following the wisdom of our man, Lutzato, Mesilat Yesharim. The Ramchal, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Lutzato, and I'm reading from my book, my recent book, newest book called Vigil, that I started writing it on October 7th, 2023. And I wrote for 100 days. I didn't set that arbitrarily. I just wrote until I began to feel a clearing. That's how I work through things. And once I felt some clarity, I came to a place where, okay, I can finish with this book. So the aspiration for peace and for clarity is enduring. And I realize that so many of our prayers are aspirations this way. One of the things I was attracted to with the Ramchal, with Rizzato, the Italian, was that his book is based on a source, an interesting source, a Baraita, just a small piece from the Tannaitic, we call it literature, from the most authoritative rabbis of the Talmudic period. And it was an oft-quoted thing by Reb Pinchas Ben Yair. And it starts with knowledge. You know, you have some knowledge of Torah. You give some Torah knowledge, some awareness. And awareness, what does it lead to? It leads to attentiveness. So he wrote the book based on this kind of inner developmental schedule to grow the inner response to the outer challenges that we experience every day of our lives. And I love it that he started with this kernel of insight from of Pinchas Ben Yair from the Talmud. And then he writes all around it and above it and into it. But it starts with being attentive. And with that, after that, you begin to get eager, you catch fire for what you're learning. And once you catch fire from what you're learning, you begin to cleanse yourself, all in an internal way. And then once you begin to cleanse yourself of contaminants, you stay away from contaminants. You come to places of purity and clarity. And from there you come to some piety, some places of piety, which means you come to a place of humility. And when you come to a place of humility, you separate yourself from wrongdoing. And when you separate yourself from wrongdoing this way, you may come to a place that we dare call some sort of holiness. It's a serious prescription. The whole book is built on that kernel of wisdom. Yeah, I know what this is like. The second book I wrote, I took something I remembered from Ibn Gabirol, lived 1,000 years ago. Just a piece from the Spanish Jewish poet, Neoplatonic philosophical poet, Spanish environment. We don't know much about Ibn Gabirol, but there's something that I learned decades ago when I was first starting out that stayed with me. And I built the whole book around this piece of wisdom that is attributed to him. It may not even be, it's a long time ago. It may not really be from him. But I built the whole book around it. And it worked in the same sense it worked. That book fountain. My sacred partner is off on a mission of mercy this morning. So Ibn Gabirol appears in a lot of my work. And I wrote a long piece. I'll read a fragment of it that appears in this recent book, another version of it. I kept changing the versions. The piece appeared. It's one of the few pieces I've written that appeared with a rhyme attached. I generally don't do that. It just came out this way. It was like it wrote me. Shlomo, and this is a conversation between Ibn Gabirol, Hafez, Persians, Rumi, James Baldwin. They have a conversation. Poetry, an occupation of the skin. You can write voices however you like. This is a conversation between Ibn Gabirol, Hafez, Rumi, James Baldwin. Shlomo, it begins this way. Shlomo, son of Gabirol, matter and form, from Plato. In Muslim Spain, adapting language, poetry, philosophy. I was universally dissatisfied, writing in Arabic, 11th century. God, the fountain of life, through the river of return, we come back to source. Source. That's what we're after. We're after the use of sources to be informed, to be attentive to the voices of the past that left us a good legacy, so that we can move into the future with an elevated awareness. We're training the interior for growth. We come back to source. The mystics claim me for my use of the word yesod. Yesod means foundation. It's a Kabbalistic sentiment, a mystic sense, premature. I was so insecure. Antisocial, more specific. I fashioned a she golem of wood. With a sweetheart, I may have been happier, but not more prolific. That was the thing about Ibn Gabirol. He wanted a sweetheart. We know little about his personal life. We do know that he was often overlooked with the basic things. He wanted a sweetheart. There's an antisocial, more specific. I fashioned a she golem of wood. With a sweetheart, I may have been happier, but not more prolific. Yeah. So many beautiful things. And we claim him. He was claimed by the mystics, but I'm not really sure whether he was in those kinds of circles. But this use of the word yesod appears in relation to one of the energies, the sphirot. I stared into the picture of the 10 sphirot, the 10 energies, the flow, until I popped into the diagram. I walked around avenues of connection, and only then did I realize all paths pass through Tiferet, beauty. At the center, beauty. I know now, begin at the center. I popped out the diagram as we were finishing the prayers, just in time to speak a prayer of healing, the healing of the spirit and the healing of the body, prayer words of adjustment for all the brokenness, inner and outer, I experience every day of my life. Yeah. If you look at the diagram of the Sphirot in the center, Tiferet, beauty, begin at the center. Truth and beauty, Keats. Yeah. We're listening to you now, Keats. Truth is beauty, beauty, truth. Yes, speak the truth, make it beautiful. Make the truth beautiful. That's another thing that we're doing, I think, with the model of Amen Lutzato, the Ramcha. He's building truth. He's building a beautiful truth for us from the inside out. From the inside out. Thanks for joining me this morning. I appreciate you. We are keeping loyal to our schedule. We give a little intention every day except Shabbat. We're going to do that up to the election. We're doing what we know how to do. You know? Yeah, we're not diplomats, but we know how to take the sources and wear them. Wear them like a coat. See you tomorrow morning then. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you.